Do you know who Chan Ho Nam from Young and Dangerous was based on? The answer lies with a legendary figure from Hong Kong's gritty underworld. A man who lived a life more dramatic than any movie script. Ng Chi Hung. His story is one of a street kid who rose through the ranks, became a movie star, and ultimately found a different path. Today, let's dive into the incredible true story of the man they called Brother B. Ng Chi Hung was born in Hong Kong in 1953. Times were tough, and like many kids from poor backgrounds, he dropped out of school early. He fell in with local gangs, and by his early teens, he was already making a name for himself on the streets of Causeway Bay. It was tough, loyal, and smart, qualities that saw him rise quickly. This wasn't a game, it was survival. His experiences during this time, the brotherhood, the conflicts, the unwritten codes of the street toll of it would later become the raw material for some of Hong Kong's most iconic gangster films. By the 1970s and 80s, Ng Chi Hung was a well-known figure in the world of rivers and lakes. His reputation preceded him, but a chance encounter would change his life's trajectory forever. In 1987, director Ringo Lam was preparing to shoot Prison on Fire, starring Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung Ko-fei. Lam wanted authenticity. He needed someone who didn't just act like a gangster, but understood the life. He sought out Ng Chi Hung, not as an actor, but as a consultant. Ng Chi Hung's insights were invaluable. He advised on the language, the mannerisms, the hierarchy, and the brutal reality of prison life. His contributions made the film feel raw and real, but Ringo Lam saw something more in him. He saw a natural presence, a charisma that couldn't be taught. He convinced Ng Chi Hung to take on a small role in the film. Hesitant at first, Ng Chi Hung agreed. The moment he stepped in front of the camera, a new star was born. His performance as the blind inmate was unforgettable, and it launched an unexpected and prolific acting career. Over the next 2 decades, Ng Chi Hung would appear in over 100 films. He became the go-to actor for any role requiring an authentic triad presence. Directors loved him because he brought a level of realism no acting school could provide. He wasn't just playing a character, he was channeling a lifetime of experience. He was the tough-as-nails boss, the loyal brother, the fearsome enforcer. Think of any classic Hong Kong gangster movie, and chances are, you'll see his distinctive face. But his most significant contribution to cinema history came from his past. The famous comic book artist, Cow Man, was fascinated by Ng Chi Hung's life story. He listened to his tales of brotherhood, loyalty, and street battles in Causeway Bay. These stories became the direct inspiration for his seminal work, the Teddy Boy comics, which we all know as Young and Dangerous. The main character, the charismatic and righteous Chan Ho Nam, was heavily based on a younger Ng Chi Hung. The comic and its subsequent film adaptations became a cultural phenomenon, defining a generation of Hong Kong cinema. Ng Chi Hung even played the iconic role of Brother B in T-movies, essentially acting in a story that he himself had inspired. It was life imitating art, which was imitating life. Playing Brother B was a role that fit him like a glove. He was the big brother, the mentor figure to Chan Ho Nam and his crew. His portrayal was so convincing because, in many ways, it was who he was. He had lived that life of leadership and responsibility. The character's popularity cemented Ng Chi Hung's status as a screen legend. Fans didn't just see an actor, they saw the real deal, a true Dailo big brother of the silver screen. But as the years went by, Ng Chi Hung began to reflect on his journey. The world of movies offered him a different perspective. He saw the consequences of the life he once led, both on screen and off. He had seen friends fall and families break apart. While he never disowned his past, he chose to embrace a new future. He slowly distanced himself from his old life, focusing on his acting career and, eventually, a new venture. In the late 90s, the Hong Kong film industry started to decline. Ng Chi Hung, avid survivor, adapted. He saw an opportunity in mainland China and decided to invest in the restaurant business. He opened a chain of restaurants, channeling his energy and leadership skills into a legitimate enterprise. People were drawn not just by the food, but by the legend himself. Eating at his restaurant felt like being part of a movie scene. with Brother B himself often there to greet customers. His transition was remarkable. He proved that it's never too late to change your path. He used his fame not to glorify his past, but to build a new, positive legacy. He became a successful businessman, a respected figure who had walked a tightrope between two worlds and emerged with wisdom and grace. He showed everyone that the same qualities that made him a leader on the streets, intelligence and a commanding presence, could also make him a leader in the business world. Today, NG Chi-hung's story serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities of life. He was a product of his time, a man shaped by hardship who navigated a dangerous world with his own code of honor. He then transformed his life's story into cinematic gold, becoming an icon in the process. From the back alleys of Causeway Bay, to the bright lights of the movie set, and finally, to the life of a respected entrepreneur, NG Chi-hung has lived more lives than most. He is not just the inspiration for Chan Ho Nam, he is a legend in his own right, a true Brother B, whose story continues to captivate and inspire. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this look into a true Hong Kong legend, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time. Have you ever watched a Stephen Chow movie and marveled at the incredible kung fu, wondering where he got his inspiration? Well, the story behind it is more astonishing than any of his films. It involves a legendary figure, a man who was not only a martial arts master but also a powerful triad godfather. This is the story of Lau Kar-leung's father, Lau Kem. Lau Kem was a direct disciple of Lam Sai-wing, who himself was a student of the legendary Wang Fihung. That's right, the Wang Fahung. This places Lau Kem directly in the lineage of one of the most revered martial arts traditions in history. He was a true master of Hung Ga Kuan, a powerful and intricate style of kung fu. He didn't just practice it. Embodiet Italiano. His skill was so renowned that he became a highly respected figure in the martial arts community of Hong Kong. But his influence didn't stop there. In the complex world of old Hong Kong, martial arts schools and the underworld were often intertwined. A master's reputation wasn't just about skill, it was about power and respect. Lau Kem commanded both. His authority was so great that he was recognized as a godfather figure within certain triad circles, a man whose word was law and whose fist was justice. He wasn't a gangster in a typical sense. He was a guardian, a respected elder whose martial prowess protected his community. So how does this connect to Stephen Chow? The link is Lau Kem's son, the legendary director and action choreographer, Lau Kar-leung. Lau Kar-leung grew up steeped in this world of authentic martial arts. He learned Hung Ga directly from his father, inheriting not just the techniques, but the spirit and philosophy of the art form. When he entered the film industry, he brought this authenticity with him, revolutionizing kung fu cinema. Before Lau Kar-leung, many movie fight scenes were more like theatrical dances. He changed all that. He insisted on real techniques, real power, and real principles. His choreography was a reflection of his father's teachings, grounded, powerful, and deeply rooted in tradition. He directed iconic films like The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, setting a new standard for martial arts on screen. Now, let's bring it to Stephen Chow. Stephen Chow has always been a massive fan of martial arts, particularly the classic kung fu films of the 70s. He idolized Bruce Lee, of course, but he also deeply admired the work of directors like Lau Kar-leung. When Chow was preparing for his masterpiece, Kung Fu Hustle, he knew he needed someone who understood the soul of Kung Fu. Who did he turn to? The one and only Lau Kar-leung. Initially, Lau Kar-leung was hired as the action choreographer for Kung Fu Hustle. This was a meeting of giants, the king of comedy and the master of Kung Fu cinema. Imagine the set. Stephen Chow, with his wild, imaginative ideas, and Lau Kar-leung, the purist, dedicated to preserving the authenticity of his family's art. Their collaboration was meant to be epic. In Kung Fu Hustle, you can see the influence of this lineage everywhere. The three masters living in the pigsty alley, they, coolie, the tailor, and the baker practice authentic Hung Jia techniques. The tailoress iron fist and the bakeress 8 trigram staff are direct nods to the styles Lau Kar-leung and his father, Lau Kam, championed. The very essence of the film's martial arts pays homage to this golden era of kung fu that Lau Kam represented. However, the collaboration between Chow and Lau was famously short-lived. They had creative differences. Stephen Chow, the visionary director, had a very specific, often fantastical, vision for his action sequences. He wanted to blend traditional kung fu with CGI and exaggerated, cartoonish physics. Lau Kar-leung, on the other hand, was a traditionalist. He believed in showing real, unadulterated kung fu. For him, the integrity of the movements was paramount. He reportedly felt that Chow's CGI-heavy approach undermined the authenticity he had spent his entire life upholding. Their visions clashed. Lau wanted to film a classic duel between the masters, showcasing their raw skill. Chow envisioned something more stylized, more over the top. In the end, they parted ways respectfully. The action choreography was taken over by another legend, Yuan Whooping, who was perhaps more accustomed to blending traditional arts with fantastical elements. As seen in The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But even after Lau Kar-leung left the project, his spirit remained. The foundations he laid are still visible in the final film. The early fight scenes, especially those involving the three masters, bear the unmistakable stamp of Lau Kar-leung's authentic choreography. He set the tone. He brought the spirit of his father, Lau Kam, onto the set of Kung Fu Hustle. While Lau Kam never directly taught Stephen Chow, his legacy did, through his son, Lau Kar-leung. The teachings of a Triad godfather and Hangzhou grandmaster became a crucial, foundational element of one of the greatest comedy kung fu films ever made. It's a fascinating chain of influence, from the legendary Wang Fei-hung to the respected master and godfather, Lau Kam, to the revolutionary director Lau Kar-leung, and finally, into the creative whirlwind of Stephen Chow. This story shows us that the world of kung fu cinema is deeper and more connected than we often realize. It's a world built on family, tradition, and a lineage of respect passed down from master to student. Lau Kam was more than just a fighter. He was a pillar of a bygone era, a guardian of a powerful art form. His influence, though unseen by most, is felt in the powerful stances, the swift strikes, and the unyielding spirit of the heroes on screen. The next time you watch Kung Fu Hustle and see the tailor unleash his iron fist, remember the incredible story behind it. You're not just watching a movie, you are witnessing the legacy of a Triad godfather who taught Stephen Chow the true meaning of Kung Fu without ever meeting him. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the hidden history of Hong Kong cinema, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories you won't find anywhere else. Let me know in the comments which Kung Fu legend you'd like to hear about next. See you in the next video.